Hello, my beautiful friends, and welcome to Funky Inspiration. We're your host, Daniela, a place to find peculiar ways to look at life and be inspired by this life. I hope you will join me every Wednesday in finding new ways to have a better quality of life. Thank you for stopping by. Lots of love, my friends. Hello, my beautiful friends, and welcome one more time to your podcast, Funky Inspiration, with your host, Daniela. In today's episode, as you can see on the title, is about intuition and following your intuition and learning how to cultivate more of your intuition. This is something I have been wanting to talk about for a long time, especially here on the podcast. I think since I started it was one of the topics that came to mind right away, because I think so many of us get so distracted nowadays. They're in the times of distractions, as I like to call it, with being in the era of Google, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, etc. We continue to look for answers outside ourselves, and the answers are always within us. We know exactly what we want, exactly what we need, and exactly what we desire, but we often like to avoid our own intuition, to ignore it, to think that others know best what to do with our life. And you are the only one who knows. You know best what you want. You know best what you need. You know best what you desire. Nobody else is going to do that knowing for you, because that is within you. And all of us, if I want you to take anything from this episode, is to realize that all of us have wisdom and deep knowing within ourselves of what we need to do in our day-to-day and in our lives. So listen to that voice. When you get a hell yes in your gut, do that. Do exactly that. Don't doubt it. Don't start to question it. Don't start to call your friends, family, your dog, your cat to tell you what to do. Because you, more than anyone else, knows exactly what you need to do. You know, you just have to maybe spend some time in quiet, spend some time alone in order to figure out exactly what it is that you want and need. But believe me, we always know exactly what we want. For me, it's actually really funny when people come to me or, for advice or something, because it doesn't matter. And I have seen this over and over. It doesn't matter if you ask somebody for an advice on something. At the end of the day, you're gonna end up doing exactly what you want. I was seeing this in I think it was a video talk that Matthew Hussey was doing, and he was saying how he often, he's a relationship coach, and he gives a lot of coaching to women and men on what to do in relationships and things like that. And he was saying how he often will give people advice, but they still go ahead and end up doing the complete opposite of what he tells them to do. And this is something I see even in my own life, where I had family or friends come to me and ask me for a question on something, and then I give them my best advice and they end up doing exactly what they want. So which is fine, of course, because at the end of the day you have to follow your knowing, your intuition. But this is what I mean by avoiding to call other people to answer your problems, your situation, your dilemmas, because only you have the answers to what you exactly need. Of course, you can go for inspiration and look up things on Google, on Instagram, on YouTube, even on this podcast. But I want you to always question everything, even question me when I give you an advice. Don't just trust me blindly on whatever I tell you. If I tell you to jump, you don't have to jump. You can take that into consideration and think, why does Daniela wants me to jump? So never just go ahead and do what somebody else is telling you to do. You first come to yourself and ask yourself exactly what it is you need to do. And this is something I've been trying to cultivate more and more, in my entire life, and even more in the last few years, to cultivate more of my intuition and following that knowing that we all have within ourselves. One thing that has really helped me is to take trips alone. And of course, this is a luxury. This is not something that anybody or everybody can do. I completely understand that and realize that. But it doesn't have to be travel. This is just something I have done for myself because it has been possible for me to do it. And I have followed up on doing it. And every time I go on a trip alone, I build my intuition even more. I come back stronger and more sharp on exactly how to listen to those gut feelings that I receive. Because believe me, I have been there where I have a gut feeling of like, yes, this is it. And then I start to doubt it. And that's when we go wrong, when we start to doubt that feeling, because we know, and our bodies literally know when something is right. And if it feels right to you, why question it? Go ahead and do it. If it feels right to you, just do it. Go and enjoy it. And and this can go for anything in life. And if it's something that is wrong, that you're following your intuition on, eventually you'll even come to understand, okay, this, what I'm doing here is wrong. So, don't take that, aside and think, okay, I should only follow my intuition on good things. No, you can even follow your intuition on bad decisions, because that will have lessons for you that are there for a reason. They're there to teach you something. So it is okay to sometimes follow our intuition, even when it's leading us the wrong way, because it's there to teach us something. It's there to provide a lesson. And that's how I hope that you will start to see it, that everything is there to provide a lesson for us. So now I have a few tips. I don't want to make this a super long episode. So I'm going to give you a few little tips of things that really help me to cultivate more of my intuition. One of the first things that really, really helps me is to literally stop and breathe. And it's such an easy one that almost seems crazy. But believe me, there's so much magic with just stopping to breathe, to breathe deeply, because this is another thing. We often, of course, you are breathing every second of your life. That goes without doubt, without even saying. But to have this deep breath, that really makes you feel and come alive, it's not something we often do unless that we are in a meditation class or yoga class, or trying to catch our breath after running or something. It's not something we do on a day-to-day, and we should be starting to cultivate that deep breathing practice more and more into our life. So whenever you have to make a big decision, especially if it's in the moment, right in that moment that you need to make a decision and you are unsure, I will highly advise you to take a few deep breaths. I would say at least 3 deep ones, to really connect with yourself, to really connect with your intuition, with your gut feeling, and it will come to you exactly what you need to do. Exactly what is best for you in that moment will come to you after having just this little breathing practice in your life. It is so valued and underrated to breathe deeply, and it's so needed in our times. Extremely powerful and has so much more to it. I wish, that it's something I want to get into this year, is doing a lot of more breath work. I don't know if you've seen that up on the internet nowadays, breath work, but it's something quite popular and I want to do it more. I got to experience some of that even here at home, just putting a video on YouTube. And I just recently did a yoga teacher training, and I got to experience more of that deep breathing and breath work. And it was beyond powerful. I think maybe that deserves a whole episode by itself because it was that powerful. So aside from breathing, another thing, like I mentioned before, is to spend time alone. And again, I know that I mentioned a trip alone, and I know that that's not accessible to everyone, and that is completely okay. You don't have to embark on this journey on overseas to get to know yourself better, to get to know your intuition, and to spend time alone. You can literally just have a day for yourself where you maybe take some time off your busy schedule to spend time with you, doing the things that you love and without the distractions. So putting away the phone as much as you can throughout that day, where you're gonna just provide lots of love and wisdom for yourself. So stay away from the electronics as much as you can on those days that you decide that you want to cultivate more of that intuition. Another thing is with food. Start to build your connection to the things you eat. We often eat, with so much distraction, and this is one advice even for myself, because I often, like to eat and play something on the TV, even on my phone. I will play like a quick YouTube tutorial on something that I don't even need to learn, but it just feels good sometimes to have something playing in the background, and it's something I need to work on, to literally just sit down and eat and not have anything going on, any distraction, and really just focus on the food that I'm having and what it's doing to my body, and just thinking in my own thoughts, but not having anything else outside of myself to influence that moment. Because what I often find with myself is that I end up eating super fast and not even realizing what the heck I just ate, because I just literally like shoot my food down and didn't even look at it because I was so in tune with whatever else I was giving my attention to. So even start with your food. Notice those little things where you are giving away your attention, and I think there's a really powerful guided meditation on how to cultivate this connection with your food, and it's a lady that is eating a raisin, and I think you can find it on YouTube, the video, and she goes through the steps of like really feeling like the texture of the raisin in your mouth, the flavors and all these things. She does a way better job than I'm doing right now to describe it, but it's very cool, very powerful, and I highly recommend it. If I find it, I will put it in the notes of the episode so you can go and take a look at it. Another big one is to go walk. The people in Norway have a phrase that I've heard about like the happy couple, or the couple that a boy's marriage is the one that goes walking. I'm not doing a great job of translating the phrase, but it's something along those lines, that couples who go and walk have a happier marriage, because literally, like, let's say you were fighting with your significant other and then you went for a walk to like space your mind. When you come back from that walk, you no longer feel like fighting. You might not even remember what you were fighting about, and it just helps to really release that energy, because remember, everything is energy. So sometimes all we need to do is go out there and release it somewhere. So if you are stressed, if you are struggling with something, go and release that energy somewhere, and when you come back, you're gonna feel more collected, more connected, and you're going to know more what to do next. So go for walks. It's free and it's easy to do, especially if you live somewhere where it's not dangerous and you have access to walk in the park or in nature. Do it. And that's one of my next ones, to be in nature. So if you can go for a walk in nature, go to the beach, go hiking, go skiing, cross country if you live in cold places, snowboarding. Just try to spend some time in nature, connecting with nature, and really enjoying and hearing the sounds of nature. It is so powerful and so healing for us. I highly recommend to even, like, if it's warm out, to put your feet in the ground, really, I think it's called earthing, they call it now, to really put your feet in the ground and feel like the mud or the sand or the grass on your feet. This is extremely powerful and is stimulating to the body in the best of ways. So I highly recommend it. Just spend more time in nature. It's going to do so much beneficial work for you just to do that little thing alone. Start doing that, my friends. It's going to really change your life. Another one I have here is to meditate. And meditate is one thing that has been taken out of proportion in many ways, because people, they tend to associate meditating with sitting cross-legged like Buddha or something like that, or something that we see in a picture of India. And no, my friends, of course that is one way to meditate, but there's so many other ways to meditate. And what I want you to take away from this is that meditating is literally just giving your full attention to something. So let's say that you are in your kitchen cooking something delicious for yourself and you have no other distraction other than you and the foods that you have in front of you. You're not playing the radio, you're not playing music, you're not playing anything. Like, you're just very highly focused and in complete awareness of what you're doing in that moment, with the food that you're making. That is meditating, my friends. Being in the flow of something, they call it. There's a wonderful book called Flow State, and explains this, how like artists, they get into the flow and that's them giving their full attention onto something, and that's meditating. Think about it. I like to paint. I love to paint, and sometimes I can start painting and literally hours will go by and I didn't even realize, I'll be like, wow, I just thought I was here painting for like 1 or 2 hours, and then it's like 5 hours went by. That's being in meditation in a way, because you are giving your full attention to what you're doing and you're spending this time outside of distraction. And for me, I think nowadays what I call distraction more than anything is what we have with electronic devices, phones, computers, TV, tablets. They take our attention many times, including myself, my friends, from what is important, and we get carried away in and we go down the rabbit holes to all these things that we find online, and just try to cultivate that sense of like, yes, it's great to go out there and get inspiration. I completely believe in that. I wouldn't have made this podcast if I didn't think inspiration is important. I believe highly that inspiration is completely needed in every day of our lives, but sometimes it is okay to just quiet everything and ask yourself those questions. Question yourself. Wait for those answers to come from you and not come from anybody else, because other people's thoughts and ideas and advice, they can influence us, and in many ways, especially if those are people close to us who are giving that advice or anything like that. So you want to be careful that you're not doing what somebody else wants you to do, but that you're doing exactly what you want to do. So even with what I tell you here, tweak it and make it your own. Make it your own journey. It doesn't have to be, you don't have to do exactly what I tell you to do. I actually tell you, please don't do exactly what I tell you to do. Just take it with a grain of salt, revise it, reflect on it, and see if it works for you. Because, for some people, going to the gym works, for example. For me, I do not like going to the gym. I prefer to go to a yoga class. So I had to come to my intuition and listening to my body and my needs and what works for me, because there's no point in me going out there and doing something just because it's trending, just because it's cool at the moment, and really avoiding that side of me that is saying, no, Daniela, this is not what you like. You actually enjoy doing yoga. You actually enjoy doing more peaceful workout sessions than being in a gym and being, going all out. And if that's your thing, that's awesome. Go and do what works for you. These are just thoughts and advice on how to, to live your best life, a better quality of life. And following your intuition completely goes along the lines of starting to live a better quality of life. My next one is to sleep on it. Sleep on it. This is a huge one for me, and it's really the way that I like to do anything. If I have the chance to think of something that I have to do and I don't have to rush into making a decision, I often love to go to bed and have the question in my head of what it is that I have to, answer. And then in the morning, what happens is that I usually end up having the answer of what it is I need to do, rather than, answering right away in the moment. So sometimes when a friend invites us to do something, we tend to, for example, tend to be a people pleaser. I want to make people feel happy and I don't want to make anybody feel bad and all of that. So it's something I had to start working on, because I cannot make everyone happy. That is impossible, So now I really tend to go towards, you know what, I will answer you tomorrow, or I will let you know. I'm gonna think about it. I tend to reply and answer people with this rather than give them a yes right away, especially if I'm not feeling that yes right away, or even if I'm feeling it and and it's something that is like way out. Like if somebody invites you to do something 3 weeks from now, don't say yes right away. Just weigh on it, sleep on it, and see how you feel tomorrow, because you might feel like yes, I want to do it in that moment, and then it might completely change tomorrow. So I tell people all the time to follow this yes feeling, but be sure to make it when it's something that is literally just for you and not something that includes other people. So when it's a feeling of something you want to do for you, yes, go ahead. If you get this yes, this is it, go ahead and do it. But if it's not that, if it's for somebody else, wait on it, sleep on it. Tell them, I will reply later. I will let you know. I will keep you posted. Reply with that. Nobody's going to die from this answer. People can wait on an answer. They don't have to be reply or answer right away. So just give it time, sleep on it, and the next day, hopefully, you will have your answer. Listen to the gut feeling. This is the one that I've been saying, because literally, when we want something and we know deep within ourselves that we want to do it, is this gut feeling comes to us. That's why there's that phrase even of gut feeling, because you literally feel it. In your body and in your soul that yes, this is it. This is what I have to do. This is what I need to do. So follow that intuition. Don't neglect it. Don't doubt it, and don't start thinking, no, this is not what I'm supposed to do. And like I said, if it's something that is for you that doesn't include other people, that's when I highly recommend that you really follow that yes first instinct answer that you get, and don't doubt it. If you start to feel doubts right away, if you don't get this yes answer and you get doubts, that's when you have to sleep on it and answer later. And like I said earlier, if it's something that you have to answer right in that moment, and you don't really have a chance to think about it, take a few breaths, take at least three deep breaths, think it, and then provide the answer. But don't just jump into it right away. Another one is this is a random one, but I wanted to put it here because I am a huge believer in trying things at least 3 times in life before I say, no, this is not my thing, I hate it. And one thing for me, one example I can give you is like, for example, the people who say, I don't like sushi. Well, maybe those people have never even tried sushi and they say, I don't like sushi. So how do you really know that you don't like sushi if you never tried it? So I encourage you with things like that. And this is a simple example, but you can apply this idea to many other things in life. So if you, let's say, try it the first time and you're unsure about it, try it a second time, see how you feel about it. Try it a third time and see how you feel about it. And if in the third time you try it, you're like, no way, sushi is not my thing, then perfect. You have at least tried it and know for sure that it is not your thing. But we often avoid trying new things, and this is something that we should all be working on to, learn how to try new things, because it is important if we want to understand more one another in this world, and especially now that the world has become so global, and we have access to so much culture and knowledge and wisdom. So just be open to things and try it at least 3 times before you say no. And this will help you with your intuition, believe me. Don't avoid your dark side. So everybody has a dark side, whether we like to accept it or not. We have those beautiful thoughts in our head, and we have those ugly thoughts that we might not want other people to know. And we might, even question, like, wow, if somebody was to listen to the heck of things I think about, they will think I am a nutcase, because literally we can have all these awful thoughts, So don't avoid it, and don't be ashamed of it. It is okay. It is part of you, and that is okay. It's not a bad thing. It's just question yourself on those feelings. Why do you feel those thoughts, those dark thoughts, if you want to call it that? And they would, if we don't have darkness, we don't have light. Like, you need to have the two. You need to have the 2 polarities in order for this world to be what it is. You cannot have one without the other. You cannot have the good without the bad, or the bad without the good. You need both of them. So start to accept that. Start to accept that you have a dark side that has these kind of dark and weird thoughts even sometimes, and don't avoid it. Just, accept it, embrace it, and love it, because it is part of you, and it is okay. You're not evil. You're not bad for having those thoughts or those ideas, but you just need to learn to work with them. Why am I having those thoughts? Why am I having those dark feelings? Start to question them. So always question yourself, my friends. And I know all of this stuff in self-improvement can be tiring. I know. I completely understand you there. But it is so needed if we want to cultivate a better quality of life, to understand all those different aspects of ourselves. Because it's, the funny thing about being human is that it's so complex, yet so simple at the same time. And maybe that is the complexity and the simplicity of it all. That was very confusing, right? But that is exactly what life is. It's complex and it's simple. It's both things at once. So just whenever you're thinking of something and you want to shut it down, don't shut it down. It is part of you. So embrace it, acknowledge it, and question it, and nothing has to be, this or that. It can be both. It's just a way to learn to accept it and live with both. Because like I said, there's not one without the other. There's not light without darkness, and there's no darkness without light. They both, come together. This world is, parallel. There's 2 things of everything, especially when it comes to that good and bad. So think of that always. And I think, that is all that I have for, quick little tips, and it's to, if this is the last thing, I guess, to trust your energy, trust your feelings. Your energy, your feeling, your knowing will always know best. They will know more than me, more than anybody else, because you are the master and the creator of your own life. So only you have the answers to how you want to live your best life, your better quality of life. Only you have those answers. Yes, you can go out there and get inspiration from other people, but that doesn't take away that you are the creator and master and the one responsible to make yourself happy, to cultivate this better quality of life. So always think of that when it comes to intuition. I hope this episode has helped you and given you some new ideas of how to cultivate and how to think about your intuition. I think this is a very special topic that we should be all encouraging ourselves more to do so. And I think my dream one day will be if schools were to teach all of this stuff, the intuition, self-care, self-improvement, self-growth, all of these cool things that we have access to learn today. I wish they all come to be part of the school system one day, because they are important. They're gonna help us to learn how to truly live a more happy, abundant, and fulfilled life, where we really feel like, it's been worth it to be down here and have this life. So with that said, my friends, I love you, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your week, or you have a wonderful weekend, because I will be posting this today on a Friday. So anyways, love you all. Take care.